Acum.
Da.
3-2.
Okay, sorry, Jakub. There was a problem with the live, so I think we have to start again. Yeah. Sorry for that. Salutare tuturor! Bine v-am regăsit la live-ul tinerilor europeni. Să dea cineva că se aude, faci microfonul. Ok, mulțumesc. Sunt alături de Mihai Gabriel Costea, președintele USR Tineret, și colegii mei Zen Alexander Gal și David, alături de Jakub Voișc, jurnalist polonez și candidat la doctorat în Budapesta. Începem vom discuta seară despre turul 2 al alegerilor din Polonia, atât și despre turul 1, pentru că sunt polonezii vecinii noștri și este un joc foarte important, pro-european, anti-european, care se derulează în acest moment în Polonia. Vom vedea exit poll-ul cât de curând, în 10-15 minute. Hello, Gabriela, intră și
Hello.
Gabriela. Hello, how are you?
Sorry for now, I will mute myself because I'm waiting for the polls and I have the first polls as a journalist,
okay,
which
thank
I
you.
cannot tell you, but we'll wait till 9 p.m., right?
Great. Cheers.
Okay, so see you like in 15 minutes.
Okay. 50-50 will be the score of the exit poll, in my opinion.
Un prim lucru despre care am discutat, dar nu a mers live-ul și asta e greșeala mea, îmi pare rău, a fost despre prezența foarte slabă a stângii poloneze pe scena alegerilor și vorbeam de turul 1 și de faptul că alianța de stângă n-a reușit să scoată un scor foarte ridicat.
Foarte alegere. Mult sub scorul partidului, că a fost Biedron obținut un scor de 2,5%, când partidul, alianța lor, era cotată în sondaje a votului politic la 15-16%. Dar mi s-a explicat de către un activist din acea zonă că ar fi vorba de faptul că ei deja votaseră pe Ceașkovski ca și candidat, ca să fie sigur să-l împingă în turul 2 că îl vedeau cu mai mari șanse împotriva lui Duda. Și iată că se vede astăzi că vom avea probabil un rezultat foarte echilibrat. De asemenea, Ceașkovski a mers cu foarte multe idei comune cu Biedron, cum am zis, de toleranța față de LGBT. Chiar el a spus că își dorește să fie primul om care ar nu celebra, ar oficia o astfel de căsătorie în Polonia.
Se vede că în Polonia se derulează o luptă mai mult ideologică, sunt cumva două Polonii.
Polonia și Polonia B.
Sigur, și exact. Mi-ar fi plăcut totuși să, scuze că te întrerup, mi-ar fi plăcut totuși să-i avem și pe ei cu noi să ne vorbească puțin despre Polska A și Polska B, pentru că îmi pare un concept foarte interesant, mi se pare că putem să regăsim și la noi.
Da, cu votul din Transilvania și votul din Vechiul Regat. Oricum, alegerile de astăzi, cum am mai spus eu, seamănă foarte mult cu prezidențiale din 2014, văd prezență mult mai mare și o bună mobilizare. S-ar putea, cum am mai spus, exit poll 50-50 și să câștige, asta e predicția mea, Ceașkovski cu un 53-54%, scor cu care nu l-a cotat niciun sondaj.
Un alt lucru pe care vreau să-l adaug legat de turul 1 este votul tinerilor. Și dacă ne uităm la votul tinerilor, Ceașkovski este pe locul 1 cu 23,8% în turul 1 și pe 2 este Christoph Bosak, candidatul extremei drepte. Și mi se pare cumva că acest lucru arată o nemulțumire a tinerilor față de sistem dacă au recurs la într-un număr așa, o parte masivă din ei să voteze.
Bosak, cunosc iarăși pe cineva care l-a votat. Au spus că, deși e de extremă dreaptă, au văzut părțile bune, că au pornit o campanie pentru readucerea polonezilor acasă. Și e un pro-american convins, un anti-rus și totuși am observat că mulți susținători al Bosak, culmea s-au dus către Ceașkovski, să susțină pe Ceașkovski. În turul 2 nu l-au susținut pe Duda, chiar dacă ideile se asemănau. Totuși îl contestă mai mult pe Duda pentru nerealizările din ultimii ani.
Bine, aici trebuie să ne gândim că electoratul lui Bosac și Bosac în sine reprezintă valori anti-europene și discursul lui Bosac și când a candidat la locale a fost anti-UE, la fel ca acum. E cam dificil de zis că electoratul lui Bosac ar migra sau ar fi migrat până astăzi mai degrabă către Ceascovski.
Sau eu consider că e un candidat, ca să zicem, care poate decide jocul. Da. Am observat o anumită preferință. Să zicem, n-am avut eu date sociologice, dar 2 persoane care au preferat acel candidat de extremă dreaptă l-au votat pe Ceașcovski și mi s-a părut foarte interesant. De ce?
Da, uite, dacă vrei să tragi o paralelă cu România, noi nu avem un Bosac în momentul de față în România. Un candidat, o extremă dreaptă care să obțină un număr considerabil de voturi și care ar putea să decidă niște alegeri prezidențiale. Să zicem că l-am avut pe Vadim acum 20 de ani.
L-am avut pe Vadim locul 3 în 2004, care l-a susținut pe Băsescu. Asta trebuie să amintim.
De atunci, extrema dreaptă în România se confruntă cu o lipsă mare de personalități carismatice și personalități care ar putea fi decisive pentru politică. În schimb, ce Polonia...
În general, fanii naționalismului s-au dus către PSD, din câte s-au văzut.
Da, dar nu există un partid tipic, clasic, să zici că uite, ăștia sunt extrema dreaptă și pe ăștia îi poți băga în categoria asta, nu i-ai pe ăia. Și asta e ce face interesant.
Dacă ești atent, AUR, mi se pare că evoluează în direcția aia și George Simion cred că o să fie candidatul principal la extremei dreapta la următoarele alegeri prezidențiale.
Da, s-ar putea să fie o comparație, s-ar putea să fie el acel populist de extremă dreapta care se va urca pe un fond ăsta de nemulțumire, pe problemele sociale existente în România, pe sărăcie și pe alte probleme care se pot regăsi și în Polonia și care vor aduce. Un alt lucru interesant legat de alegeri este faptul că foarte multă lume din diaspora poloneză s-a înregistrat și a votat, cel puțin în primul tur. Ce a fost diferit la alegerile astea? De ce au ales atâți polonezi să voteze acum și de ce nu au votat atâția nici la celelalte alegeri?
Probabil au văzut un scop foarte important în aceste alegeri. Au văzut că țara lor o apă are 2 drumuri în față, drumul lui Duda, care reprezenta cumva o marginalizare proprie a țării, o îndepărtare de valorile europene, și drumul lui Ceașcovski, care reprezenta occidentalizarea, dorința de a se integra în ceea ce reprezintă spațiul cultural european și a valorilor.
Eu nu văd situația într-un mod mai practic. Oamenii nu prea preferă să iasă la vot, mai degrabă să aduce să facă și un mic, un grătar. Și în principiu mă gândesc că ei oricum observat că runda a doua de alegeri e decisivă și atunci ei preferă să iasă direct la runda a doua ca să evite runda întâi și timp pierdut și toate alea. Deși noi, adică eu cel puțin, nu încurajez chestia asta. Toți candidații ar trebui să fie susținuți.
Și în 2014 la noi, de exemplu, cred că a fost o diferență între primul tur și al doilea tur de prezență de cam 9 puncte procentuale, dacă știu bine. În primul tur a fost o prezență de 55-60%, în al doilea tur știu că au fost 65%. Cei care l-au pus pe Iohannis președinte au fost aceia în mare parte.
Și încă o chestie, acum vorbim de scenarii alternative, cred că va fi, și cred și eu, mai avem câteva minute până aflăm, cred că va fi foarte strâns. Dacă câștigă Duda, dacă câștigă Ceașcovski, voi ce credeți? Ce se va întâmpla în viitor? Ce mesaj va transmite asta și ce coaliții de guvernare se vor putea forma din asta? Mihai?
Ok, mă așteptam să mă lași ultimul pentru că eu deja postasem despre asta.
Da, știu.
Eu o să fac o predicție și pentru, nu doar pentru exit poll, undeva la 50,7% pentru Andrei Duda și predicția asta se bazează pe creșterea numărului de votanți, care nu a fost făcută neapărat în comunitățile mari, de peste 500.000 de locuitori, dar ci în comunitățile alea mai mici, cu un număr de cetățeni redus, și în sud-est, respectiv nord-estul țării. Asta i-ar da, alături de multe alte elemente, acel edge pentru Duda. Printre elementele astea pe care le-am menționat ar fi și ceea ce ziceam înainte de a începe live-ul, și anume eșecul stângii de a propune o alternativă viabilă pentru funcția de președinte. Eșecul lui Biedron nu a fost datorat doar faptului că au văzut tinerii sau oamenii în general, electoratul de stânga sau de centru-stânga, în Trzaskowski un candidat mai potrivit și care avea nevoie de acea șansă reală în turul întâi de a intra în al doilea tur alături de Duda. Sunt o grămadă de fracturi în stânga recent refăcută, să zic așa, în Polonia. Sunt scandaluri interne la Wiosna. SLD-ul, socialdemocrații, practic sunt moștenitorii Partidului Comunist și o mare parte dintre cei aleși sau cei din conducerea partidului încă au legături și au fost în funcții în perioada dinainte de 89. Razem cu Adrian Zandberg s-a cam delimitat de ei și oarecum fracturile astea cred că o să aibă un impact nu doar asupra Wiosna și viitoarei configurații pe centru-stânga din Polonia, ci și asupra rezultatului de acum. Pentru că am, să zic așa, un network de cunoștințe în Polonia, majoritatea tineri și membrii fie în Modern, care face parte din coaliția civică, dar și din Razem sau Wiosna. Majoritatea lor nu au mai mers să voteze într-un al doilea. Și asta cred că o să ducă la acele legi pe care l-am zis pentru Duda. Scăderea prezenței în electoratul de centru-stânga și scăderea prezenței în urban, raportat la creșterea în periurban și rural.
Eu nu sunt convins că nu o să fie schimbări radicale în atitudinea Poloniei față de Uniunea Europeană. Nu o să vedem un polexit în niciun caz. În schimb, cred că o să continue toată chestia asta cu orașele libere de LGBT și alte mișcări conservatoare. Poate chiar o să fie încurajate, deși dacă Duda ar câștiga în seara asta, n-ar fi o surpriză, ținând cont că în primul tur a avut rezultate bune peste tot în Polonia. Sigur, fieful lui, să zic așa, a fost în partea de est, în Polonia B.
Da, am primit un exit poll de pe Europe Elecții de un minut și Duda 50.4, Trzaskowski 49.6.
Depinde dacă este menționată ce oră, dacă ai putea să verifici.
Jakub, Gabriela, have you got an exit poll from Poland? Maybe something more official?
Yes, I got the exit poll.
Okay, what does it say?
Well, the first exit poll says it says 50.4 for incumbent President Andrzej Duda and 49.6 for the opposition candidate Rafał Trzaskowski. And I guess this does not include the votes cast abroad by the diaspora. So we'll have to wait still for the
and
for
also the vote made after
so I guess
7
tomorrow.
p.m. No?
Do you think
Exactly.
that
Exactly. So it's still not final result.
Sorry, do you think the diaspora
The
can change
result
the
shows
situation
that
in
that
favor
it's less
of?
than 1%. I hope it can, but during the European Parliament elections, we also hope that diaspora can change the results, but in the end, it didn't happen. So for now, we think that it can change the results, but we're not sure. So the turnout was very high. There was more than 500,000 voters abroad, so much more than in the first round. And we believe that this increase of the number of voters shows that there will be more voters from the opposition candidate. But we'll see tomorrow.
Yeah, we will see. Also, I wanted to ask a question about the diaspora vote, because I've noticed that there are two categories, you could say. So there's one type of more recent Polish diaspora that tends to vote with the civic coalition, and there's the more historical, like let's say second, third generation immigrants from the US, Brazil, and other countries that tend to vote peace. And why is that? Why is that happening?
This is a separate topic. We can talk for hours, but first I can give you the results. So in United States, Andrzej Duda won. I think I would say it's surprising low result for Duda and surprising huge support for Trzaskowski, but nevertheless Duda won in United States, especially in Chicago and New York. But Trzaskowski won in Houston and Los Angeles, for example. So these are different types of diaspora, as you said. Also in Australia, Trzaskowski won. We don't have yet results from Western Europe, and we believe that in Western Europe, Trzaskowski will have higher support. And as answering your question, I think the diaspora in the United States is mainly the political diaspora from the 70s and 80s. They don't really have close ties with Poland anymore. Sometimes they don't even speak Polish anymore, or they speak like a mixture of English and Polish. They see themselves as very patriotic, Catholic, conservative, and also the reason is that the politicians from Poland going to US to inform or to motivate or to spread propaganda, I would say, are only the conservative politicians. I don't see any liberal politicians or social democrat politicians going to US trying to find votes there. So I think this shows the need to other political parties to seek opportunity to go to US and to talk to people. Otherwise, they will only have one source of information, which is our public TV and conservative newspapers and conservative politicians and church. And we know that the Catholic Church in the US, as the Catholic Church in Poland, is supporting directly or indirectly, more and more directly, the conservative ruling party.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Do you think there will be any change in Polish politics after these elections? Like something essential, maybe even a Polexit?
No, I don't think there will be any immediate change. I think if Duda wins, it will mean a consolidation of power for the ruling party. It will be a confirmation of their mandate and a confirmation of support of the society for the reforms that the ruling party is making. And this consolidation and confirmation of mandate will mean or will allow the ruling party further actions and radicalization of their policies. And by radicalization, I mean taking control of private media and also legislation against non-governmental organizations. So things that happened in Hungary before. And if something changes and tomorrow we'll see that Trzaskowski wins, then it will mean restoration of checks and balances. There will be president from another political group able to control the government, to propose different legislation, and simply check or veto the legal acts prepared by the parliament, which is controlled by peace. So it can mean a change, or it can mean a consolidation and radicalization. So we are on the very important point for the next 5 years, at least.
Jakub, since you're living in Budapest, do you think if Trzaskowski manages to win, would that give an incentive for the Hungarian opposition to, I don't know, I'm not saying rise up against Orban, but to try to give them a boost? Because as we know, Poland and Hungary are very connected.
Polak-Węgier.
So in the first round, Polak-Węgier, yes.
Lengyel, magyar, ketyóbára.
In Hungary, Polish diaspora supported in the first round Trzaskowski, 300 and to 100 Duda. So Polish voters surprisingly supported Trzaskowski in Hungary. In the second round, we don't have the results yet, but we know that the turnout was twice or even 3 times as big as in the first round. So they mobilized, but we don't know what it means. It could be mobilization for Duda or for Trzaskowski. We don't know yet. Answering your question, I don't think it will change anything in Polish-Hungarian relations, and I also don't think it will be any motivation, support, or inspiration for Hungary. It's a different case. We have to remember that in Hungary, Fidesz has constitutional majority in the parliament, so they have much stronger mandate for their reforms. So this is the difference with Poland, where PiS doesn't have constitutional majority in the parliament, and if they want to change something, they simply violate the constitution or issue laws that go against or somehow misinterpret the constitution. I don't think it will have any impact for Hungary.
Thank you for the answer. Anyone else? David, Sven, Mihai,
I can.
Gabriela?
Yes. Jakub.
Hi.
I can see. Hey, sorry. You can say.
It's okay. I'm already listening to the speech of Trzaskowski, so give me some time.
What is he saying? Is he conceding, or he's saying?
First 2 words, so like 2 minutes, please.
Okay.
Okay, we are curious about. Probabil ca pentru ascultătorii români o să zică ceva de genul: ați fost niște eroi astăzi. Știm noi ca și cine într-o zi de 16 noiembrie 2014. I compare, yes, the elections from today with the elections of the Romanian elections of 16th November 2014, when Iohannis won with 55%.
Oh, there's another interesting topic, because if you're making comparisons with Romania, as you know, you're Polish. There's 2 Polands when it comes to voting. So you have Western Poland that tends to vote differently from Eastern Poland. So we have the same scenario. We used to see that in Romania as well. The western part, Transylvania, votes differently from the rest of Romania. So
yes.
what can you say?
Sorry.
Yeah,
you know, it's my favorite subject this evening. So I want to ask you about what do you think about Polska A and Polska B? Poland A and Poland B.
Okay, so
What do you think about it? How much do you think it influenced the whole electoral process?
I think it's more complicated than that. Polska A and Polska B was a narrative used years ago. I think now we don't use this particular expression anymore. We see that it's really more complex than that. Polska A and Polska B refer to Western and Eastern Poland, but now as PiS gained support also in Western part, so it's increasing its support also in Western part, and also other factors come into play. So not only the geographical location, but also social status, education, age, whether it's a village or small city or big city, also gender preferences. So it's really not legitimate to say it's only Polska and Polska, but there are other factors here. But it still plays a role. I think it's quite similar as in Romania. I think, as far as I know, that people from smaller cities and villages and less educated and older support more conservative parties, while people younger from bigger cities and better educated support more liberal parties or social democrat parties.
Romania is very interesting about it.
This is so in Poland. We will see this in these elections as well. So we will see that Duda got support in villages, which were very motivated in this second round. The turnout was higher than in the first round in villages and small towns. Older people, of course, also supported Duda. This may be a reason. Well, there are several reasons for that. First of all, public media. I would mention that public media are now a government mouthpiece, so they basically only say what the ruling party says. There is no critical journalism at all. And many villages and small towns have access only to public TV. They don't have access to private channels. So the only source of information is the government propaganda. The other thing is Catholic Church. So Catholic Church lives in, I would say, symbiosis with the ruling party. It's a mutual support, financial, and in terms of power and relations and so on. So priests every Sunday say quite clearly who people should support and who should they not support, because it's a sin or God wants them to vote this way or another. So this influences the religious people for sure. So yes, it's much more complex than Polska A and Polska B division.
That's true.
Yeah, but you know,
but in Romania we have the same paradigm about Transylvania and the rest of Romania, because especially of the empire that made part Transylvania. Transylvania was part of Austria-Hungary, and the rest of the country was dominated by the Ottoman Empire.
You know, I forgot about this concept till Sven showed me results in the first elections, in the first round of elections, and I observed that Tchaikovsky got better results in the western part of the country, and Duda got better results in the eastern part of the country. Wait.
Yes, that's true. He got better support much more support in the West, but as I can see, it's not that as in the past. In the past, the division was clear, East and West. Now, PiS is gaining support also in the West, maybe because of the demobilization of the liberal electorate. So supporters of Civic Platform or Social Democrats, they're not going to the elections. And they believe that both the Civic Platform and PiS are equally bad, for example, so they are not voting for none of these parties, and that's why the turnout is lower in the West.
And what is more important?
His supporters are very motivated and they go to vote.
For example, you can see the region which I'm from and I'm working in, Wielkopolska, Greater Poland. We are like a western part, but the results are like 50-50, more for Duda. Why? Because the biggest difference is between cities and small villages, small cities. And you can clearly see that in Poland, like you can't divide right now Poland like Poland A and Poland B. It's more like Poland with small cities, small villages, Poland with big cities, but we don't have much of them. Well-educated part of our community, and people which are not educated. So that's the biggest difference in these pools. But as I told you off the records, these pools are not measurable, and they tell it clearly. We have to wait till midnight, I guess, till the late pool results. And what is important, late pool never test polls voting abroad. So we have like around 516,000 people were registered abroad to vote, and this is around 2%. So it's really not measurable to tell you now who is the winner. Of course, everyone say that they are the winners, because you asked me what they say. Of course, Duda. Thanks to everyone from the government. I just want to add that in Poland, president is non-party, as you can see, non-party in both situations. What Trzaskowski, thanks to everyone as well, but he's not on the scene with other politicians. He's alone, and he said, like, even if he loses the elections, he will start the campaign around Poland. So I think, as a political scientist and journalist, that's the most important information that we have for now. Like they will start, the opposition will start a campaign, let's say door to door, like city to the city, like, so they will talk to people more personal than just through the media. I think they will start like Szymon Hołownia started a social movement, so they will start to shake people in person.
So do you think Hołownia will make his own movement? Like, I think Cookies did the same 5 years ago, right? They were...
Well, that can be difficult. Next elections are in 3 years, probably 2023. But the point is, if PiS will see that they have a strong support, they would probably want to have elections before, just to have a monopoly in all. So, you know, I mean, monopolization is bad in every situation with every party. Now it's like we have Senate, so the highest yes, thank you. And they don't have like exact monopoly. Maybe they will try.
Considering that both Czechia and Slovakia have...
Wait, David.
Okay.
Jakub, sorry, go.
Say, Jakub, sorry.
I would add more to that because, as I said previously, the public TV was supporting the incumbent president, but also the government. Maybe that should be underlined as well, that the prime minister and all the ministers were campaigning during this campaign, and they were engaged on the side of the current president, Andrzej Duda. So he had really strong government support. Also the president of the parliament, they were all campaigning in cities and gaining the support for him. And talking about the votes from abroad, as far as I know, the turnout was quite high. It was, when I checked last time, about 5 p.m. it was 67% for Trzaskowski and 23% 33% for Duda, which is not enough for Trzaskowski to win because he should have more than 70. But we believe in the civic staff that were coordinating the votes, that when we count the votes until tomorrow morning, Trzaskowski may reach even 75%, but this is only estimation. So as Gabriela said, Trzaskowski needs, these votes from abroad are 2%. So he should get at least 70% of this for this 2%.
I just would like to add that the voting didn't finish yet.
Is confident in
because we can see in the TV that on the seacoast, in the seaside resorts, people are still voting. It means if before 9 a.m. you are in a queue, like the chairman of the commission can stand at the end of the queue. It's like around Jastarnia, Reval, so the seaside resorts around the Baltic Sea, by the Baltic Sea, 100 meters of queue. So I think those votes mattered, and I think we have to wait till the morning. So tomorrow
every vote will matter in this election.
So what do you think sorry, I wanted to ask you, because at home it's usually let's say the more pro-European voters that go to vote in the afternoon and during the like late early evening. So I wanted to know if that's the case too, if let's say it's the resorts in the Baltic. So I mean, we know the Baltic coast prefers the civic platform more or less. So
but in this case, we have holidays, and
that's what I was thinking too. Yeah,
people from the big cities went to the sea and to the mountains, so we don't know really who is voting there. For example, I'm from the seacoast, but now I'm in Poznan, and in my seaside resort, still there is a queue, people are waiting. But those are people from Warsaw, from the eastern Poland, some people from western Poland, but it's not really measurable to say who is going to vote later. It's warm, kind of warm today, so people go vote. I was surprised, like my friends around 30 years old went at 7 a.m., 8 a.m. To vote, so it's very early, like the first hours, or really late after holiday that they spend by the sea, by the lake, whatever, doing anything. So it's the same with people who has kids, and I think that's the most important point, but we can't really say. There is no tests on any research that says which hours people vote. Before, like all the old people were voting in the morning, but now these elections are really special.
We talked about it because in Romania, it's usually the early morning vote is for the anti-European party, PSD, and the late afternoon vote from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. is for pro-European parties like PNL, like USR, and that's what we want to compare. Pentru publicul românesc, exact asta voiam să spun, că seara și la noi și probabil și la ei ies tinerii la vot și care au venit de nu știu unde, atunci s-ar putea să fie un avantaj pentru candidatul pro-european Trzaskowski.
Gabriela, what I wanted to ask you was, did the pandemic affect the campaign in any way? I mean,
yes,
we can see that.
Of course,
the turnout is way higher. That's why I'm asking.
Yes, and I was wondering today with my colleagues if the frequency effect is because people are angry, or because people are happy because they got some social money, and it means that you have to shake our society to have a frequency. This is the highest frequency we ever had. I've never stood in a queue for votes. That's the first time in my life I'm voting, like 12 years. And the pandemic, of course, have an impact for the campaign, but for votes, I don't know. I guess Trzaskowski and his people not really use the argument about, for example, masks, about not wearing the masks, but about buying the masks, spending people's money, buying respirators that we never get. And those are the points that even you could see that during the debate, that none of the first one, when 10th, 11 of the candidates were there, all the candidates were there, no one was talking about that. This campaign was totally, I mean, politicians were playing on emotions. There was nothing really important about what president can do in Poland. It was more about personal stuff and more about, of course, anti-government stuff. But that's obvious because we have kind of monopoly. But if you can use that card, I mean, if you are the random person, you cross the street, what you can hear? Oh, the prices are higher. Oh, we have to wear masks. But where's this fucking COVID? If we can stay in the queue, like for the votes, one next to one, no one, keep the distance. And people from one hand start to be angry. From the other, they believe that everything that's government. I mean, we say this like hard voters that always vote for the same party. And this you can see exactly in the Poland A and Poland B. So there is no research for now for that. What people think. I think this is exactly what we can see in this 50-50 results. Like, half the people believe in COVID, half the people say that there's no COVID, and the campaign was just stupid, or half of the people say, yeah, that was important because Szumowski, or Ministry of the Health, said first that we will have the safe elections after 2 years. We have like 4 months, 3 months. 3 months.
3 months.
So,
if I can add something, from my perspective, the pandemic had a practical impact on the elections, because for the first time on such a scale, we were voting not only in the polls, but also through correspondence voting.
yeah,
So
that's
many people were able to send their votes. And the practical meaning is that this creates some chances for manipulation. As we can see already, there was not enough time for the post offices and the consular offices to deliver the voting packages to people. Some people didn't get their packages, or got them very late, and they were not able to send them back. So probably many hundreds, if not thousands votes will arrive after deadline, and they will not be counted. And so this is
That is
one
why we
problem.
need
Another
to wait
problem
until the research,
that,
because every person which didn't get the envelope for correspondency vote have to make like a statement that they didn't get it, but they applied and blah blah blah. So we will have like the exact result, how many people it was. Of course, it's always dangerous, but I think it's too early to say that there was something wrong. I mean, there was a case, of course, I know about that, and I know that from my friends as well. But it's too early to say that there was some big complication with that will have an impact. I mean, every voice matters, but we'll see the scale.
Do you guys think the candidates use more this time the online media communication?
Regarding what?
I mean, I think
regarding the campaign.
Yeah, that's why.
The whole campaign.
Hołownia.
Do they use more, let's say, Facebook or Twitter campaigns and messages than in other campaigns, considering the pandemic?
I think before the first term, actually we supposed to have the elections in May, and it was the peak, the pandemic. So obviously we could not organize public gatherings, and the candidates were forced to use public, social media to communicate with their voters. But in these elections, I think none of the candidates paid attention to the restrictions anymore, and they were campaigning freely. And obviously, they were using social media, but not as a only way to communicate. They were meeting their voters, and I think Trzaskowski had a really professional campaign now in the second round. He had many good photographies and videos and spots basically every day posted on social media, on his Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook. Also, his wife created accounts on Instagram and Facebook, and she was also posting pictures and videos from her meetings with women. And so I guess it was very much used in this campaign, more than in the previous campaigns.
Exactly, not she, but the election stuff. Not both of them, but the election stuff. The truth is that the only candidate which really in person used the social media was Szymon Hołownia. Why? Because he has no founding. That's the most important point, because he used the strength of social media, and he had like first twice a day, in morning and evening, live meeting with his followers, and after that just once a day, during the second round as well, once a day, as well with Rafał Trzaskowski, which was for sure more active, or his election stuff in social media than Andrzej Duda. But why? This is very easy. Who votes for Andrzej Duda? Elder people. And on the other hand, he has the government and TVP, so the public television, which is easy to say. I mean, I'm a journalist. I shouldn't say that, but this is not journalism anymore, and that's clear to see. You can clearly see what's you can measure as well what's TVN, what is TVN doing. From the one hand, they start to be some kind of opposition for what is TVP doing, but on the other hand, in some moments, that's stepped to be a journalism as well. And everyone clearly know whose candidate is whose. And I'm really disappointed that we didn't have a debate between two candidates in last weeks.
The station is very close to the Romanian second round last year, where we hadn't a debate between the candidates.
That's very sad, because this divides society stronger and stronger, and you can clearly see that in families, on the streets, in internet. I even don't want to say, because that's sometimes shitstorm, let's say. And not always real people are texting there. So, but yes, the strong gap between people, between society, you can clearly see in Poland, standing in a queue in the shop or waiting for going to vote. And that's absolutely sad, because people start to fight, even not young people, elderly people start to fight between each other. I mean, if you are a politician, if you are a public person, you are responsible for what you are saying and which way you are saying that. And if you are a journalist, if you are media as well, or even more. So that's really, really sad and unresponsible. That's not patriotism as well, for sure. From both sides, to be clear.
50 minutes have passed in the live, so I would like to thank you, all of you. I mean, we're not done yet if you still want to talk, but I just want to thank everyone who's been watching and who's been sharing it and who's been liking it on Facebook and who's been watching it on YouTube. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Vă mulțumim tuturor care ne urmăriți, desigur. Și care ne-a apreciat. Sperăm că am fost cât de cât echitabili.
Before we go, Gabriela, I do have a question. Do you think that if Duda manages to win, will he eventually split up from Law and Justice and create his own coalitions and eventually take over from Kaczynski?
No, for sure not. During his speech, he already thanked to Kaczynski. There was as well Mateusz Morawiecki, our prime minister, and Beata Szydło, the previous prime minister and the person who was responsible for his campaign 5 years ago when he was fighting with Komorowski. So it's totally clear that he is a person from peace. And this is like one strong political camp, and even if this hate speech that they have during the political discourse, they still say this is like Polish tradition, Polish family, very important traditional values that they always say they have, which you can just listen or not. And for sure, he will not divide from peace. That's sure. But the other, and the different situation, I guess, is with Trzaskowski. You can clearly say and clearly see that he's not anymore showing himself with politicians from Platforma Obywatelska. Not really often. Even tonight, during his speech, it was just him. Some other politicians from Platforma Obywatelska were talking with media, but there was no Grzegorz Schetyna, which people really don't like. And we can see it easily in a polls. There is no Donald Tusk. There is no other politicians that are somehow not liked by people or controversial. With Duda, he's clear. He's all with all the people from the government, from peace, on the stage. Trzaskowski not. If he will divide, I don't think so. You asked me before about Szymon Hołownia. It's difficult to be social movement for 3 years for the next elections, especially because after 3 years, no one will remember him. And you have to have money to run the campaign, of course. So some people predict that he will connect with Platforma Obywatelska, but I think this can be shot in the knee for him because many people were voting for him because of his non-party statements as a social president, not a party president. So we'll see. I think none of them will divide from the party. But Trzaskowski is clearly dividing from the old Platforma Obywatelska politicians.
Do you think the Visegrad cooperation may be affected?
I will say that until Duda will not.
Jakub, please, and then David.
Sí, Jakub.
I would say that Andrzej Duda will not divide from the ruling party, regardless of if he wins or he loses. First of all, I don't think he has intellectual and political capabilities to create any project on his own. he's totally dependent on Kaczynski and his support. Of course, there are different factions in the ruling party. So there are supporters of Duda, supporters of Morawiecki, supporters of Justice Minister Ziobro. So at least 3 or 4 groups fighting.
I think we've lost.
Is gone, and every one of the go.
Yeah.
And as far
there is some problem with connection, I guess.
Concerned, I also don't believe he will leave the party. He will give up his party ID and he will hire non-party experts. That's what he promised to Szymon Hołownia. Also, that he will be open to other experts and people to hire in his office. I would not agree with Gabriela that other politicians from Civic Platform are now not showing with Trzaskowski. We've seen many politicians from the younger generation, Pomaska, for example, or from Poznań, Franek Sterczewski. So there are younger politicians.
Yes, but you see, this is a young generation. I don't know the political dinosaurs like Schetyna.
Yeah, but Schetyna is not active anymore. There was a change in the presidency of Civic Platform. Boris Budka is the new chairman, and Schetyna is gone. So I don't know why would Trzaskowski meet Schetyna anyway. So he is meeting with Budka. He met him before the first round, and now he's simply campaigning. He's on the road with his wife and the younger politicians. Probably the controversial, or not controversial, but simply hated sometimes.
Exactly. I mean, that's what I wanted to say, and that's easy to see that, because that's also the point of the campaign of Trzaskowski. He didn't want to be connected with old Platforma Obywatelska. He always was saying, like, I know that the government of Platforma Obywatelska made some mistakes, which we will never hear from Andrzej Duda. So that's the difference. Andrzej Duda always say, peace has a good government and is always doing a good things for people, for Poland. And Trzaskowski said, okay, we know that Platforma Obywatelska did some mistakes and people can not like it. But we have new chapter, new people, new politicians, new generation, which can change that. And that was the point of his campaign.
David, I think you had a question about the Visegrad group, if I need to ask. Sure. David, are you with us?
Yes, no. I am.
You wanted to ask a question.
Yes, so yes, sorry, I was checking the comments section of our page. So my curiosity, to say like that, is if do you see a yes?
Sauge, David, sauge.
We can hear you, yeah.
Okay, so do you think that that may be a break in the Visegrad cooperation? Because
no.
In both cases, no.
Okay, because Czechia and Slovakia have a socialist, let's call government, at least the president, and
I think there is an agreement, political agreement, that in this region we have simply partners that are historical and political partners. No matter which party is ruling, these ties may be slightly different, stronger or weaker, but in general, it's a good partnership. Although in last years we've seen it was quite passive, I would say. It was presented in the government narrative as a crucial and strategic partnership, especially with Hungary. But in real terms, I think it was politically dead, simply. And we saw Czech Republic and Slovakia and Hungary meeting without Poland, also meeting, for example, with Israel. Without Poland, so these three countries without us. I think the small countries see Poland as a valuable partner only when Poland has a strong position in the EU and can advocate for them. As long as we have good relations with Germany and we are strong in Brussels, Hungary and Czech Republic and Slovakia can count on us and have good partnership. But when they see our position is weaker and we are marginalized, they don't have to talk with us. They talk directly to Germans and all the bigger players, and they try to advocate for their interests directly in Brussels, in Berlin, in Paris, without talking with Warsaw. The same applies to Ukraine. As long Polish position was stronger in the EU, Ukraine was benefiting from it, and we were a strong advocate of Ukrainian interests. But as soon as we became marginalized, Ukraine is trying to fight for their national interests directly in Brussels, in Germany, in France. So the same applies for the Visegrad group, I guess.
I agree.
Do you think the Visegrad? Sorry, do you think the Visegrad group is accentuating or eliminating, to say like that, the differences between Western Europe and Eastern Europe? Because, you know, at the moment we can talk about Europe in two speeds, the well-developed Western Europe and the less developed ex-Soviet Eastern Europe. Do you think it's helpful?
I don't hear the question. There's some trouble with connection.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Hello, is there anyone?
Here
Jakub?
am I.
Yeah, David, we can hear you, so maybe Jakub has the problem.
Yeah, okay.
I mean,
So
I think
try to
Gabriela can
write
answer
the
the question.
Yeah.
The screen
I
might be
couldn't hear you as well because I heard Jakub that there is some echo and in my as well.
So
I
my
just
question,
heard something about Visegrad group, but not the exact question.
Okay. So my question was if the Visegrad group is helping is increasing the differences between Eastern Europe and Western Europe, or is reducing the differences between the two parts of Europe?
Well, you're asking about the opinion. I'm a news setter, not opinion setter. The only thing that I can say from the political scientist view as well, in my opinion, every integration is helping. It's better to have integration than not have. So from my side, that's all. I have to be neutral.
Jakub, have you been able to hear us?
I haven't heard the question. Sorry. Now I hear you, yes.
Okay, perfect. So my question for Gabriela and now for you is, do you think that the Visegrad agreement is helping the Eastern Europe because at the moment we can talk about more developed Western Europe and less developed Eastern Europe. So do you think the Visegrad group is reducing the differences between the two parts of Europe?
I think it still has a potential. It was very important for us in the accession period when we could negotiate and present our interests together with a strong voice. But now the cooperation is not that strong for the reasons I mentioned before, that the three other countries are working directly with their partners, not with Poland. And I think there is still potential for integration and cooperation. There is this another initiative called the Three Seas initiative, which is V4 countries, but also Western Balkan countries, and also Bulgaria, Romania. I think it has economic potential, so infrastructure, connectivity, roads, telecommunication, railways. So it has a potential in this sense.
I'm just looking at the TV because the Agata Duda, wife of Andrzej Duda, already said she's not really open speaking up, and that's why people call her quiet first lady. And she said, like, I'm a journalist. I'm listening to all the campaigns and everything that they say, because it's my work every day. And she said, like, people say that I'm not speaking up, but I'm not speaking up to the media, just to random people. Come on, if you are first lady, you have to use your voice. But she's not really encouraged in politics. That's the point. I mean, that's the real opposition to the Jolanta Kwaśniewska, which was really active first lady. So maybe we will have active first lady someday, or maybe first women president. Who knows? Not now.
I think all the first ladies before were more active. So the Danuta Wałęsa, wife of Lech Wałęsa, was quite, well, maybe not quite active, but she was visible and she was someone to look up to for the older generation. Also, Jolanta Kwaśniewska, wife of the Social Democratic candidate, the president, Aleksander Kwaśniewski. She was more of a celebrity, actually, always present in the media, respected until today. And other wives of President Komorowski and President Kaczyński, they were also active. They were balancing a bit the politics of their wives in terms of women's rights, for example. So the wife of Lech Kaczyński was seen as a voice, moderate voice, or enlightened voice in respect of women's rights. And now the last 5 years, it was basically silence from the wife of Andrzej Duda. She never spoke anything significant, actually. She was attending some events. She was having, for example, public classes in German language, because she's a German teacher, German language teacher. So she had some lessons for children, but she never had any political or social policy or agenda. And from the woman's perspective, women's rights, she never defended women's rights. For example, we had this legislation against women's rights concerning abortion laws and restriction of abortion, and she never advocated for women in this specific topic.
Not any social even, because the abortion is still controversial in Poland. So in every other case, she never speak up. So yes.
Guys, I think we've passed our mark, so I think we have to wrap it up. It's more than I at least expected for the subject to go. So if you have any final words, I would like to thank you all for coming. Mihai, Gabriela, Jakub, Sven, David, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting us.
You are a great host. Ai fost o gazdă bună, na. And our discussion was very complex. And
we will see how the
counting. That's why we talked so much.
We will see how the counting goes, how the votes. There's still a lot of them to be numbered, and we can see, obviously, you can see from the exit poll, it's close, but you never know. So Duda might win, Tchaikovsky might win. We're in for a surprise. It's going to be close. There's precedent. So the president that ran for re-election lost. That happened 5 years ago. So we will see. So thank you all for coming again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jakub and Gabriela. Dziękujemy.
Mulțumesc. Thank you.
Like
Have a great evening.
Donald Tusk spoke in Romanian when Romania took the presidency. When the president of the European Union, Tusk spoke in Romanian in Bucharest.
Yeah.
Well, it was a very impressive moment, and we were hurt-eyed. and he had a very great pronunciation, a great accent.
Yeah. Sven, wait. So I'll close the live. So thank you all for coming, and thank you for the discussion we had. So goodbye and good night.
Bye. Good night.
Mulțumim.